and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my October wrap up. You'll have to excuse me slightly lying down, but I can't get the lighting right in here and it keeps going dark, so this will have to do. The weather has been very changeable today, so I'm not surprised, so I apologise if it keeps going light and dark, but this is the best I can do. I had 13 books on my TBR. I managed 12 and I'm in the middle of one. I don't know if I'll get it finished today, and some of those got swapped out, so I don't think I'll give myself any punishments, even though 3 of the books that were on my TBR I didn't read, because I did read other books in their place, not necessarily with the same letters, which I should have thought about really. But I'll work my way through. I'll do the stats first. So I read 12 books, which was 4,086 pages. All 12 were physical books. So I didn't do any audio books or ebooks this month. I have been slow listening to a audiobook in my car each time I do a journey, but it's going to go well into next month before I can report on that one. Of the 12 books, 3 were contemporary fiction, 1 was non-fiction, 2 were YA, 1 was thriller, 1 was a graphic novel, 1 was a middle grade, 1 was a biography, and 2 were general fiction. So quite a wide spread. I got 3 5 stars, 4 4 stars, and 5 3 stars. So I did very well. Got no 2 stars or 1 stars. 6 were off my TBR and 6 were from my library. And I took part in 3 readathons during October. I did Supernatural-a-thon and I ticked off 9 of the 15 prompts, although the book that I'm in the middle of will fulfill another one of those, so let's say 10. Royal Readathon Villains Take Over, I completed 7 of the 10 prompts, and Hey Readathon, I completed 4 out of the 5 prompts, so I was very pleased with that. So I will just go through now the books based on the letters that I was given from Scrabble, and we'll talk through those. Then I'll go through the books that Andy picked for me, and then I'll go to the one that you guys picked. So the first letter I got was L, which is The Little Flower Shop by the Sea by Ali McNamara. I can't say out the star rating for this one or much about it because I am on page 92. I am enjoying it. It's not going to be a 5-star, but if I can't get this finished today, it'll just roll over to the beginning of next month and I'll wrap it up next month. So there's that one. The next one was T, which I read To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I've took that back to the library now. That was a library book. I gave that 3 stars. It was okay. I quite liked it. I do want to read the next one. I have already got that out from the library ready. I can't show it you physically now because I've took it back to the library. Yeah, maybe if I was around the age that was set, I'm pretty sure like age 15ish, I probably would have given it a bigger star rating because I would have like connected with it more, I think. But I still liked it. I'm going to read the next 2 in the series, and yeah, quite enjoyed it. It's basically about a girl who writes some letters to the boys that she's liked over the years, and then her sister accidentally posts them out, and she's dealing with the aftermath of that. But yeah, really good. And like I said, I'm going to read the next one. The next letter I got was O, which I was going to read Our Women on the Ground by Zara Hawkin. I'll put the words up here. I didn't read that one in the end. I swapped that out. I didn't swap in letters. There was other things I wanted to read. So I read Pumpkinheads. I'd never read a graphic novel before. It was one of the options I'd give you guys, but you picked Good Girl Bad Blood. It was one of the other ones on the list I wanted to read, and I thought for Halloween that would be really good. I give that 3 star though because not a lot happened in that book. I don't know, because I've never read graphic novels before. I don't know if maybe that's what they're all like and they're just really quick and over with quick because they're not many pages, a lot of pictures. It was a nice little love story. He followed this girl around the park to tell her how he felt about her, but I didn't think much about it other than that. So, you know, I'm glad I've read one, but I don't think it's encouraged me to read other graphic novels. So I'll keep an eye on YouTube of ones that, on BookTube of graphic novels that other people suggest and might give them a go, maybe borrow them from the library. But I've got to say, it's not really encouraged me to read another graphic novel for now. Just maybe it was just the story of this one, but it was nice, but it was nothing special. The next letter I got was D, and I was supposed to be reading Dodger by Terry Pratchett. Didn't get round to that. I read the Fairy Tales of Hans Christian Andersen from when I was a child. The pumpkin heads in this one I wanted to fit into Hey Readathon, and it was for a specific week, 12th to the 18th of October. So I got this one. I give this 3 stars as well because they were nice stories. I remember them from being a kid, and maybe that spoils it a little bit because I kind of knew them all anyway. But they were dead sad, and I don't know, I was hoping for something a bit more upbeat, but most of them are quite sad. Like the one about the little tin soldier, and it's just his heart left, and I mean, I know the ugly duckling who turns into a swan, but there was just other ones as well that were just a bit. Oh, the Little Mermaid. The way this ends is not like the Disney one, so yeah, that ending was really sad as well. I won't spoil it in case anybody else wants to read these tales, and maybe you already know. But the Little Mermaid, the Disney version, even though it's sad because she leaves her dad, it's a much better ending to this one. So yeah, liked them, but it was a nostalgia feel I wanted, and I suppose I did get that because I got that when I was a child. But 3 star. The next letter I got was U, which I read. Oh, I haven't got it here. I must have took it back to the library. Us by David Nichols. I gave that 4 star. I did like it. I've started watching the BBC adaptation now because I've finished it, but I got the first few minutes in and then said to Andy, "Is this something you'd be interested in watching with me?" And he said, "Do you think I'll like it?" And I said, "Yes." So I'm about to stop, so we're going to watch it together. Did like the book. It's basically about a wife who turns to her husband one night in the early hours in bed and says, "I want to leave you," and that's the opening of it. And then it's him trying to kind of win her back by going on this world tour with her and their teenage son. But I've got to say, I've only read it not long ago, and I forgot. Oh, Douglas. I think his name's Douglas, the fella in it. Oh, he's a bit of a wet blanket at times, and he just nags the hell out of his teenage son. And I kind of got why Connie had made the decision she had, and why his teenage son felt about him the way he did. Because maybe it was because he wasn't very emotionally, he didn't have a lot of emotional intelligence, maybe, and he couldn't come across very well. But he just never said what he meant, went all around the block and just nagged. And I didn't feel much sympathy for him, to be honest. Not sure I really liked Connie that much as a character either. She was kind of a party girl who ended up settling down with Douglas because he was totally different from people who she'd been with before, and I feel like that's the reason she went with him, and maybe that wasn't the right decision if she was hoping for a marriage that would last. So yeah, I would recommend it. I did enjoy it. I think I've read One Day by David Nichols in the past, and probably Start Off at 10 as well, but that was a while ago. So yeah, I'll read more by him. I think his most recent one is Sweet Sorrow. I fancy giving that one a go. So yeah, would recommend, really liked it. The next letter I got was N, which I decided to read The Night In with Audrey Hepburn. Oh yeah, got that here, by Lucy Holiday. I read these out of order. This was meant to be the first one. I've already read A Night In with Marilyn Monroe, and there is a storyline that goes through that you kind of need to, between her and her best friend, that you need to know about. So I'm a bit gutted about that, because now I kind of feel like, oh, do I need to read the Marilyn Monroe one to update myself on where it's up to? But I might just try and read like the last little chapter and see if I can work out how it goes. I'm really excited to read the Grace Kelly one. Did I just say what star rating I give this? 4 star. Do you like it? I love Marilyn Monroe, love Audrey Hepburn, love Grace Kelly. So I'm looking forward to the next one. I do hope she does another one. I'd quite like her to do Judy Garland. And I did look for her on Twitter when I'd read the Marilyn Monroe one to see if I could make that suggestion. Because I would like to see one of her with Judy Garland. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that'd be good to go with, but they were the main ones. So yeah, Judy Garland. So I'd love to do that. Yeah, so would recommend, really great. Then I got another day where I was meant to read The Door That Led to Where. I don't know who that's by, or Sally Gardner. Didn't read that one. Ended up reading The Confession by, oh my goodness, that's really annoying. Bear with me. Jessie. I went on a Q&A with her, I can't remember her name. Jessie Burton. That's so annoying. I won on Twitter a Twitter competition through the Book Tasters website to go on a Q&A with Jessie Burton through their book club. They send out you pay for a book box and they send out a book, some treats, and then you go on a Q&A with the author. So I won. I didn't obviously win a box, I just won a chance to go on the Q&A. So I got the book out from the library, read it, loved it, so glad I did. I've had Jessie Burton on my radar for a while, and people had recommended The Muse and The Miniaturist, which I just never got around to reading. Loved that book. It gave me real Evelyn Hugo vibes, which I gave another 5-star last month. Basically about a girl who is trying to find out what happened to her mother. She disappeared when she was a little girl, and she'd been told that this reclusive author was like possibly the last person to see her, and her dad wouldn't tell her much about it, so she kind of meets this woman but under a pretense of being somebody else, and it's all about that, and the confession could mean her confession to this woman about who she really is, or the confession about what happened to her mum. So it ended where you kind of didn't know some things, and when I went on the Q&A, she said she's not sure if she'll ever go back to it, so that was kind of left like that. But yeah, I loved it. I give it 5 stars. It really has made me want to read The Muse and The Miniaturist, and the Q&A was brill. It's not a cheap box to buy, and when they mentioned the November book, I wasn't quite sure if it really appealed to me enough to pay for the box, but they were doing a special Christmas one and I couldn't resist because I really want all the Christmas feels and read a lot of Christmas books in December, so I have purchased that and treated myself for Christmas. So that will be posted out the end of November, I think, and I think the book club Q&A with the author is on the 22nd of December, which is my last day in work, so that'll be nice and a nice start to Christmas. So that was that one. Then I got R, which, excuse me, was the first book of the month I actually read, which was Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, I think that one is by. It was a book that was gifted to me from Mel, from a book fiend named Mel. Has it been on my wish list for a while? I did like this book. I gave it 4 stars. I haven't read many same-sex relationship books. I read one not long ago called Finding Home. I can't remember the author, I'll put it here, and really enjoyed that one as well. So this is basically about a member of the royal family who hasn't got a great relationship with the son of the President of the United States, and they're putting on a show of being friends and hanging out together, and it's basically a hate to love trope. Really liked it. It didn't get a 5-star because it was just a bit too mushy for me in parts. When sometimes they send emails back to each other, and there's lots of quotes from lovers of history, and they send these quotes to each other, and I just found it a bit too mushy in parts. So that's the reason it didn't get a 5-star, because I just couldn't take to that. I did like that there was a lot of email conversations in there amongst the regular text, and I did like the characters as well. I pictured the son of the president as the the lad who played Logan in the Gilmore Girls. I don't know why I had him pictured in my head. And I pictured the fella from the first The Prince and I film with Julia Stiles. I was picturing him as the English member of the royal family. I had those two in my head. I don't know why. I like to picture actors or people that I know as the characters, and they just came up into my head, and that's how it went all the way through. But I would read another book by that author. I would read another same-sex romance if one came up that appealed to me. And thank you, Mel, for that gift. So they were all my Scrabble books. Then Andy picked 4 books for me to read because it was Scrabble and Spouse. He picked, let me pick the ones that he gave me. So the first one was Catch Me If You Can by Frank W. Abagnale. I wish I hadn't seen the film first because, I give this 4 stars because I did like the story from the film. It's been a while since I read it, but I felt like I knew what was coming, kind of. And yeah, I did like the story. I could picture, obviously, the characters because I'd seen the film. But it didn't get a 5-star because there was just too much terminology in there for me. Where he's becomes an air pilot, there was lots of things to do with airlines and air pilots and things that I just thought it was too wordy around that. I'm just not interested in that. I just wanted to know more about his background and the people he met rather than all the terminology of what pilots should know. The same for all the lawyer type speak as well. Just not interested in that, but still really enjoyed the story. Just wish I hadn't watched I like to read the books first, which is what I did with Us, what I did with To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So I just don't like doing it the other way around. But yeah, enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the film, go for this first because it's just better that way, I feel. The next one I read was The Day I Killed Margaret Thatcher by Anthony Cartwright. That was a library book. I've took it back. Gave this 3 stars. Did like it, but there was no speech marks in any of the text. It was when he was speaking as a boy, or any of the characters were speaking at that time, it was in italics and it was all bunched together, so it didn't make for a good reading experience. There was regular text when he was talking, like just narrating it, and then this italics for when people were speaking, but there was no separation. It was all together. It's hard to describe. You'd have to read it to know, but I did like it. It was a fiction, but told like a biography. It kind of pulled on real experiences as I'd experienced a 9-year-old would feel around that time. Yeah, I liked it. Possibly would read something else by him if it wasn't like that with all the speech. So yeah, I'm glad you recommended that one. Then I read The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I gave that 5 stars. That was one that Andy's mum had bought me during lockdown. She bought me a load of books as a treat. Loved it as much as The Guest List. I really hope she does another murder mystery type book because I would eat that up as well. Similar kind of thing, just a group of people away together. There's a murder. You see the murder at the beginning, but you don't find out who it is or who did it, and then it just follows through. So yeah, definitely liked that one. And what was the other one Andy picked for me? And why can't Married Annoyed, I'm gonna call it. Gave this 3 stars. Won't be listening to that podcast. It was quite crass in places. It did make me giggle in parts, and I just was wide-eyed reading some of the stories because a lot of them are stories that are sent in from people into their podcast or through their email, etc. And there is a whole section in the back of that book around poo incidents and people who've had incidents with poo and send them in to the website or to their podcast. And I just sat there thinking, I can't believe I'm reading this. So out of Andy's books, he picked for me a 5-star, a 5-star, a 4-star, and 2 3 stars. So he didn't do bad. like I say, three of them were already on my list anyway, and then he's picked the fourth one himself. So yeah, I am delighted with how that went. I think the only one I haven't covered now is the one you guys picked for Twitter, which was Good Girl, Bad Blood. Give it 5 stars. Loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Good Girl's Guide to Murder is basically where she opens an old murder case because she doesn't think it happened the way the police believe it happened. And then this is a follow-on book with the similar kind of characters in it. However, she's decided to call it a day on any kind of investigations into crime, even though she's got her own podcast. But then a friend's brother goes missing and he begs her to help because the police don't seem to be getting anywhere with it. And the ending is just, it had me feeling quite emotional. I can't say too much more because I really don't want to spoil it, but gave me real gut-wrenching feelings. Would definitely, without a doubt, read another by this author. You know, really enjoyed the characters. And yeah, that's all I can say about it really. Sometimes when you're reading it, it doesn't feel like a young adult. It just feels like an adult thriller. It gives you those kind of feelings. Um, so yeah, I hope in my mismatched way of going through that, I've gone through all 12 that I read. Like I said, the three that I didn't read were Dodger, The Girl That Led to Her, and Our Women on the Ground. But in their place, even though they didn't match with the letters, I read Pumpkinheads, Fairy Tales of Hans Christian Andersen, and The Confession, which is why I won't be doing a punishment this month because I did read the amount of books I set out to read just slightly differently. I will always, like I said in a vlog, prioritize the 4 books that the person that month picked for me. So Andy picked those 4 books and I read all those 4 books. You guys picked a book for me and I read that. And then I will try my best to fit the Scrabble ones in. It's just this month with that competition coming out, I would never have entered that competition and not read the book to do the Q&A with the author, and I would not have not gone on that call because I then would have took the prize off somebody else who could have used it. So I was always going to read that once I found out I'd won that competition. And I really wanted to take part in Hey Readathon, so doing Pumpkinheads and Fairy Tale of Hans Christian Andersen helped me to make sure I did 4 of those prompts. So yeah, I feel like I did okay. Like I said, I'm carrying on with this. I hope I get most of it read today, and if that's the case, probably in a vlog or something, I'll just tell you what I thought about it. If not, it will go into next month's and you will find out then. I said in a vlog that I don't normally use my bookmarks that I buy, but I have been. I've been letting Sophie pick which one she wants me to use. Today we're using Rachel from Friends. And yeah, so it's Believeathon for November TBR. I put it up ages ago, Scrabble and Second Cousin TBR, so I'm looking forward to that. However, today we found out that we may well be going into lockdown on Wednesday. I don't know how that will work with where I work because I work in a library, so even if it's shut to the public doesn't necessarily mean I won't be working. So I'm waiting to find out about that. But I have therefore grabbed every middle grade that I can find, thinking I might fit a load more middle grades in than just the 13 books that I've got on my pile already. So we will see. But I hope this was useful, that maybe some of these books appeal. Let me know in the comments below if you've read them, and what you thought of them. If you've read any of the 3 books that I didn't get round to and you think I should prioritise any of them, let me know. And anything else you can think of, feel free to have a chat with me because I do like it when people engage. So if you are new here, thank you for watching. If you are a regular here, thank you again for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing if that appeals to you. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.